Welcome back to Studio 5. This week we're presenting a mini-series dedicated to the man you love the very most. Over the next 3 days, we're focusing in on how to build up better husbands, men, and fathers. And we're starting today with a situation that can stump even the most supportive wife. How to help a husband who is struggling. We're talking about those day-to-day situations. So maybe he's not doing well at work, maybe he's feeling unfulfilled, he's on his third job in a year, whatever it may be. Dr. Matt Townsend says your relationship can actually be the fastest way to help him get back on track. True?
Well, yeah, and what happens a lot of times, we try to blow up the relationship accidentally because we're pushing so hard for results. So we all want to get results, and we want our partner getting results, but the reason you know something's wrong is because maybe they're not as happy as they used to be. Maybe they're more angry with the children. They're not producing the results you want to see.
Which is such a helpless feeling from the outside, because there's really nothing you can officially get in there and do, but you want to help.
That's it. And so the first rule is remember that you have to balance results and relationships.
Okay.
So a lot of us go for an either or. Either you get good grades or I will like you. And it kind of feels like that with our kids, right?
Yeah.
But either with our husband or our spouse, we've got to get results. And if they're struggling and if they're in a depression, and they can't keep a job, and this is their fourth job, we probably need to figure out a way to use our relationship to get close to them, to show them we understand, to show them we care, in order to help to create some some results. One of the problems with that is sometimes you have to be confident that you can be strong with your partner, and a lot of us don't know how to do that. We're afraid to be too strong with them because they always pull away or they always run away. Right? So one of the other tools we use is approach with empathy, not judgment. Empathy is, remember, Project Empathy was one of my goals this month, is to make sure we're focusing on showing that I care. It doesn't matter how much you know if they don't know you care. So before you try to judge them or critique them, if they hear judgment, their natural instinct will be to fight you.
And do sometimes solutions come across as judgments, if you're offering helpful solutions?
And especially for a man, because when a man communicates, we tend to be communicating with our ego involved. Men are communicating to try to save face a lot of times. So if you're bringing me a problem that you see about me, my ego gets involved really easily. The only way to turn that ego off is if they can feel safe with you. So sometimes you can just sit there and connect and hold and talk, and maybe not even talk about the real issue. Maybe talk about what their dreams are. Talk about what their goals are. What is it you want to do with your life? And try to have a conversation about their bigger picture instead of their lack of results right now. Okay? One of the other things we have to figure out is why they have holes. So when most of us get married, we think we have this perfect little vessel, right?
Yeah.
It's this perfect husband, tons of power, it's whole and complete, and they hold all of this love, and they ought to just be able to pour beautifully for us.
Yeah.
The reality is most of us married this. And you may not be able to see it, but this is just it's a typical similar picture, right? But it has holes in it. And the holes make it so sometimes they can't pour the love. They can't hold the love. If I pour love into a vessel that has holes, it's going to pour out.
What are these holes typically?
The holes are typically, and this is what we're going to try to start working on. So as you're talking to your spouse, just talk about that everyone has holes. And one of the holes is simply our physiology. Physiological problems can create holes. If somebody has depression, they may have depression because they lack chemistry. Their body's not making the chemistry. Sometimes it's situational, but a lot of times they might have ADD. They might have, they may have been diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis, or they may have just, they may have hurt their back, so they have a lot of back pain. And in an accident, and they can't recover from the accident. If somebody has a physiological hole, we need to send them to a medical doctor to deal with the hole. And it could be any kind of doctor, really, but I'd send the people that I coach, when I'm looking for them, I see if their problem is caused by their body. Some people don't have physiological, they have psychological holes. That would be something that happened as a child. That would be abuse growing up. That might be low self-esteem, a lack of self-worth. Psychological problems, we'd send them to a therapist, a psychologist. And the psychologist might be able to find out that they have some situational depression, and they might temporarily give some chemistry, some medicine, some pills to kind of create the chemistry that they need. But sometimes they just need someone to talk to. And with a guy, a lot of times that's harder, right?
Right, to get
some people have a hole that's addictions.
I saw distractions on the list too. What are distractions?
Distractions very simply could be their girlfriend. That could be a problem in a marriage. It could be the kids. A distraction could be that they are trying to win the championship of the video game that they're playing. A distraction could be simply that they're trying to start their fourth or fifth company that has failed, and they're so into starting this company or joining a company or joining kind of a direct sell type of organization, and they're not a very good business person. And that distraction keeps them from getting a real job.
And ignorance, one of the final holes.
Ignorance is the last hole, and that's simply that they just don't know what to do. So if we can go in and talk to our partner and say, look, it seems like you're distracted by this. How can we sit there and help you? If you really want to start a business, let's go figure out what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. Let's work on it. If you have holes of ignorance, let's start talking about what it is you want most out of life. Let's talk about how you really should handle your chemical depression, and let's go get some education.
So you're focusing on the positives. You talk about men not wanting to open up. How much of the frustration, though, we're feeling is based on our own expectations?
Oh, it's huge. So we have to manage your expectation. If you have a partner that has ADD and attention deficit disorder, you have to manage your expectation about that. And if you're mad every single time they're late for something or they forgot something,
you're going to be mad a lot.
You're going to be mad a lot. So once you know that your partner has a hole, you can just sit there and hope that they fix it, or you can start to manage your own life according to it. It doesn't mean that they shouldn't have to work on it, but a person with ADD is probably going to forget more. So you probably ought to remind more, and you probably ought to get them the help they need so they can make their own changes. And then when they happen to pull out the ADD problem, you probably should have kind of anticipated it. And by anticipating it, it puts it in your circle of influence. So now you have some hope. So now you're not just totally living up to someone else that has holes. You now can start to manage yourself in relation to those holes. And everybody has holes. Every husband, every wife, I guarantee you, has one of those holes. And by the time we die, we'll have a couple.
It'll build up a little bit.
It always builds up. And so talk about it. Try to figure out a way to build the opportunity to talk about it. And one great way we try to do it is on our date nights.
This is coming up, and this is a great time to really crack open the conversation.
Because this is just a fun night where we're going to talk about creating peace with people. And in there, you can grow together, learn to talk, learn to actually find out what creates peace in our lives. A lot of it is stuff we think we know. We'll give you some skills, some tools. All you got to do is go to datenightswithmatt.com. But hurry, because tickets are going fast. It's in about 2 weeks. So get going.
We'll be there. We're excited, Matt. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you.